wanted to be on this presentation for a couple reasons, and the first reason is how much respect I have for you, James, and your leadership team. I know Team Revolution. I know the vision. I know the goals that you have, and they're big. Not only is this one of the largest organizations in the world in ACN, it's the fastest growing organization, and they have goals to help more people reach the top positions that he shared with you than any other organization in the world. And you know what? I always say that 98% of success is first getting with the right company. And I think that the more you learn about us, the more you'll agree this is the right company. But if you really want to take it home, it's just being lucky enough to land on the right team within the right company. But now the sky is the limit, and that's exactly what you see here tonight. So James, I appreciate that. Another reason I wanted to get on this call is just to share with you a little bit about what's going on with the company so you can understand what's in front of us. And also we have Mr. Mike Kane on as well. He's the Vice President of North American Sales. And we're going to just touch on it in a little more detail about one of the greatest services and opportunities that any company could ever have in history to be a part of. And we're going to talk about it and how it can really impact you. But I want you to think about something, as James went through the presentation, we launched this company in 1993. It looked kind of similar on the surface, but in 1993, the only service that we could offer back then was the long distance portion of your home phone bill. So your home phone bill, long distance phone service. If any young people around here, they're like, what are you talking about? But anyone that knows what I'm talking about, we're the same age at least, right? But anyway, so we were excited. And I'll tell you, people, honestly, when we started ACN, they weren't excited. I had people come up to me and they say, why are you doing that? What is so exciting about home phone service? I remember one of the words they used. It irritated me. Someone came up to me and said, where's the sizzle in home phone service? And I said, you know what the sizzle is? The sizzle is in the substance, okay? What we loved is the idea of combining direct selling with a service instead of a product, like everybody else does. Why a service? Not just a service, but an essential service, a service that somebody was going to use anyway. We didn't want to sell anything to anybody. We didn't want to ask anyone to do anything different than they were already doing. And we also love the idea of when you do market an essential service, that industry has to be large because everybody is going to be using that service. So back then it was home phone service. We kicked off the company just north of Detroit, Michigan. If any of you are familiar with Detroit, it was a Somerset hotel, and I actually did the very first presentation. And people go, man, I wish I was there. I wish I joined, I wish I was there ground floor. And I say, no, you don't. Trust me, you do not wish you were there. Imagine looking at a company when there is no success stories, no proof it's even going to work, right? You're definitely rolling the dice. And it's funny because the gentleman you're going to hear after me, he was exactly that person. He was one of the original 20 people that came originally. We were friends. We trusted each other. He said, you know what, let's do it. And he was one of the first people to get started with ACN. But to make my point, when we started the company with that one service, we worked hard. We were excited about it. It looked like this. How did we do? Our first 5 years in business, we created from scratch $400 million in annual revenue for our first partner, and we became the 22nd fastest growing privately held company in the United States, which meant that we were the 22nd fastest growing company against all companies in all industries, okay? So we had a lot of success out of the gates. And I'll give you the biggest two reasons for that success. Number one is that it was the relationships. We're in relationship marketing. So if you think about it, no matter what industry is out there, when it's competitive, what makes the difference? He or she who has the relationship, right? So that's exactly what we do. For example, it's obvious, right? I know people that you don't know that I could get as customers. Each of you know people that I don't know that you could get as customers that I cannot get. And all of us know people that all of us don't know. And because of those relationships, you can get the customers we all can't get. So it's networking through people and those relationships, which allowed us to penetrate an industry that normally could not be penetrated, right? And so that's the first reason. The second reason is because of simplicity of what we do. You know, when James went through the presentation, it really is simple. We each get some customers, we introduce other people to do the same, and so on and so forth. And next thing you know, you've built a very large business. So we did well in the early years, and I will tell you that, you know, I believe with every cell in my body that what you're looking at is probably one of the single greatest business concepts that we're going to see in our lifetime. Okay. And the reason I say that is because we empower the individual. Now, we started with one service. Fast forward to today. Today we, as James mentioned to you, we have a wide and growing range of services. We're in 28 countries around the world. We've done billions of dollars in sales. We've acquired millions of customers. And I would say, if I were you, a lot of people say, wow, that's pretty good. How much opportunity is left, after all that success? Well, I'll tell you how much is left. This is what the exciting part is. Do you realize, because we are in essential services, these are the services that people have to use, want to use, or are going to use in the future. All of us, right? Because of that, each of these services individually and collectively are so large that you can't even comprehend it. I even hate throwing out the number. We spend over $1 trillion a year collectively on these services because we have to, right? And because it's so large, I want you ready for this? After 28 years and billions of dollars in sales, we still have less than 0.1% market penetration. What does it mean to you? That means with 28 years of success, we're as ground floor as you'd ever want to be. 99.9% of the people out there today still are not our customers. They don't even know we exist. Where do you find a company that has the success record that we have, and at the same time is as ground floor as we are? And that's exactly what you have. Here's why I love what we do. Here's why I'm passionate about what we do. If you think about all the services that we offer, okay, it's obvious. There's a lot of companies that offer the same things that we do, right? There's nothing miraculous about that, right? A lot of companies offer these same services because it's big business. Everybody wants a piece of it. But what makes us different is how we do it. We're the only company of our kind. There's no one like us. Look, I don't care there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of ways to get business, right? The way we do it is we work with you. So I want you to think about this. We empower individuals. Normally, if you want to make money in home security, credit card processing, gas, electricity, mobile phone service, internet service, you normally have to either be a very wealthy person or you have to be a very large company, because it takes millions and millions of dollars to start your own service provider. You just can't do it, right? ACN is the only company that has a business model where instead of doing traditional forms of marketing, we pay individuals. So by working together and we partnering together, you start your own business, a small startup fee, as James told you, $199, a small monthly fee. You get your website set up, your online stores set up. As soon as it is, you are ready to go. You can start getting customers as soon as you do that. You can start building a team right away. But think about what I'm going to say to you. You as an individual, you're an individual. You can go head to head with billion-dollar companies. You can take as much of their business as you choose to take, as many of their customers as you choose to take, as much as their revenue as you choose to take. And guess what? You get to be paid like big business. Residual income. When people pay their bills every single month, guess what? Now you could earn residual income just like the big companies do. So I'm passionate about that because we empower people, right? And the main reason we want to do this call today is because out of all the industries that we're in, one of the most exciting industries is gas and electricity. Now, I don't know if any of you guys, I think a lot of people were stuck at home watching TV last year because of COVID. I saw a show on the History Channel, and it was called The Men Who Built America. I don't know if any of you saw that. And it was just basically a historic show about like Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, Tesla, Thomas Edison, all these mega wealthy people who kind of started building all these industries in America. And what these super mega rich people did is they were all fighting to find an industry and monopolize that market. So for example, before it was funny watching it because there was so many parallels to then to now, except today it's social media, it's electric cars, and it's things like that. Look at all the big giant mega billionaires we have today, Amazon, but that's the modern world that we're living in. But back then it was kerosene. So like if you wanted to light your home, there was no electricity. So to light your home, you had to have little kerosene lamps and you had to put kerosene in there and light it. That was your light at home. And then when they started coming out with electricity, everyone said, "Oh, that'll never replace kerosene," right? When the car came out, people said, "Well, that's never going to replace the horse and buggy. That doesn't make any sense," right? Everyone always resists innovation. But these guys, these mega wealthy people, were cornering the markets and creating monopolies. So he who controlled the kerosene controlled the lights, right? And then all of a sudden electricity came in and that took over kerosene and then cars and so on and so forth. So you know the story. But I want you to think about that. They were so wealthy because they created monopolies. No one else could compete. Well, now fast forward, they eventually don't allow monopolies. They broke up those monopolies, forcing competition. And that, because of that, here we can be a company competing in the same industries these mega giants are. Okay, so not only is deregulation good for the consumer because they get good services, good choices, it's good for entrepreneurs, but ACN is good for us. ACN is good for the individual because you could say, "Oh, great, there's competition in the car business. Hey, there's competition in the phone business." Well, that's great for them, but what's great for us is ACN because now you are in business in electricity. You're in business in home security. You sitting there is in business with credit card processing. We're the only company that does this. Now, the other people try to do it. Other people have kind of looked like they were doing it, but they weren't. And even if they try, it's too hard to recreate an ACN today, right? So we are the only company of our kind. And why is that good for you to know? Because I always try to tell people, when you're in a race, how hard is it to win when you look to your right and you look to your left and nobody is standing there? We stand alone in the direct selling industry. If you want to offer services and you want to do what we're doing, you have to join ACN. There's nobody else to join. So just think of what that means for us going forward, right? So we've had all this success in the past, and now we have all this opportunity in front of us. But one of the main industries is gas and electricity. And to talk a little bit more about that, we have the Vice President of North American Sales on this presentation. As I told you, this gentleman, we were friends before we started ACN. And when he joined, it was like, he almost laughed like, you know what? Nobody would join a company day one, right? That doesn't make any sense. Everybody waits to see what's going to happen first. He goes, "But I'm going to do it." And not only did he join, he was the first person that as an IBO that worked his way to the top position in ACN. And I always say a leader isn't someone who just rides a wave. A leader is a person who creates that wave, that proves it can be done. And that's the individual he is. He built a big business. And over the years, he decided that he came into ACN to become vice president of North American Sales so he can help everybody. And he is we're good friends. He's a great man of character. And he reminds me of all the great leaders you have on this call because good people just hang with good people. But I'll tell you, he's going to cover about this one service, electricity. Hear what he has to say because opportunity doesn't always come around the way it's coming around right now. You got to take advantage of what's happening right now at this very moment, and that's gas and electricity. So let me turn this over to Vice President of North American Sales, Mr. Michael